Amid fault lines, a revival of the farmer's identity. Signs of a polarized Western UP and its agrarian communities unifying are visible in the ongoing farmers' movement. This year in Uttar Pradesh, thousands of farmers gathered on January 29 at the Government Inter-College Ground, Muzaffarnagar, following a call by the Bharatiya Kisan Union (BKU) President, Naresh Tikate, for a Mahapanchayat, to express solidarity with the protest at the Ghazipur border led by his brother, Rakesh Tikate. Among the key speakers was Ghulam Muhammad Jawla, the most influential Muslim leader of the BKU, and considered to be a close friend of the late Mahendra Singh Tikate. The presence of Mr. Jawla and Muslim farmers at the meet has been read as a sign of a re-emerging Jat-Muslim alliance under the Kisan identity after the 2013 Muzaffarnagar riots affected the social fabric in rural western UP. The Bharatiya Janata Party (BJP) and its regional leadership were behind a local caste dispute growing into a communal issue that polarized villages along religious lines. At the time, it seemed that Jat farmers had suddenly claimed the Hindutva identity. But that did not happen overnight. The farmers' polity has had deep roots while farmers' mobilizations have a long history in the western UP region. The ongoing agrarian change and crisis generated by neoliberal economic policies have shifted the agrarian economy to non-farm occupations. These new developments caused fissures in the farmers' polity in the northwestern region, giving the BJP a political advantage. Recent events indicate a revival of the farmers' identity as a community. A transformation. The Jats have dominated landownership in large parts of western UP since at least the mid-19th century. Muslims form a section of the Jats, and both groups have coexisted in the villages. Between the mid-1960s to late 1980s, the Green Revolution boosted the Jats. As landowners, they have been patrons Jajmans of the artisan services and labor castes who are largely Pasmanda Muslims. The artisan service castes are either landless or small marginal landowners. The BKU has provided an inclusive platform to various rural groups including laborers, marginal and middle farmers across religions. In the 1980s, the BKU led by Mahendra Singh Tikate, along with Muslim farmers and landless laborers, organized protest movements for cheap electricity and higher crop prices. However, in the early 1990s, when the Green Revolution had advanced, farmers' income stagnated and land holdings became smaller through subdivisions. Neoliberal economic policies, a decline of state subsidies to agriculture, the rising cost of farming inputs, growing stagnation in farm production, and ecological precarity, all led to non-farm economic activities, and a further weakening of Jat farmers and the BKU's politics. Definite social changes. Increasingly, villages are found more at urban sites than in the fields. Face-to-face interactions among different communities and individuals, once common, are now a rarity. Farmers who would depend on the artisan service castes for everyday services repairing agricultural implements, hairdressing and washing clothes now look to new technologies or nearby towns for these services. The breakdown of the Jajmani system has resulted in a cash flow. The young generation across caste groups has come under the spell of the consumer culture. Villagers who live on non-farm incomes and remittances now self-identify as middle class. Family, kinship and an obligation-based rural economy have been transformed into an individual-centric economy based on skills and cash transactions. Intra-caste, family and kin inequalities are on the rise. The formation of rural middle class is underway, which includes the Muslim artisan service castes. Independence from Jajmani relations combined with universal suffrage has not only created political competition between the Jats and their clients but also changed their mutually dependent economic interests into competing ones. In the resultant shift in attitudes among the younger generation toward the dominant caste patrons, the young generation of artisan service castes are now asserting their rights. Such assertion by the marginalized groups often leads to skirmishes and conflicts. But the disintegration of vertical relations and everyday face-to-face interactions between different caste communities and individuals who work in urban areas, and the growing disconnect from the village and its social norms have all weakened the capacity of rural society to absorb and resolve everyday conflicts. More importantly, these changes have also reduced the ability of the Jats and other dominant castes to use their power and resolve conflicts in their favor. Shifting identities, BJP's rise. Distress in agriculture has led Jats to look for new avenues of employment as well as new political alliances. In a globalizing economy, these shifts have brought the younger generation in proximity with the large urban Hindu middle class, influencing their tastes, language, rituals, symbols, politics and ethos. Changes in aspirations and identities forged by the new mediatized culture and mobilities have created an altered socio-cultural landscape. Communication and entertainment technologies have aided new social and economic connections, providing spaces for different socio-political formations. Economic and spatial mobilities have fragmented the Jat community. By giving representation and political offices, the BJP has tapped into the political and economic aspirations of youth. An increasing number have shifted away from their Arya Samaj roots and joined different religious and spiritual sects that are urban-based and have spread to rural western UP. With agricultural and village festivals on the decline, Hindu rituals and festivals, and religious meetings and functions organized by member groups of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh are the new center of focus. The BJP has appropriated their symbols of pride by organizing celebrations such as on the birth centenary or sacrifice day of Jat freedom fighters. Certain TV channels, Astha, have become quite popular too. Increased interactions with the wider world have had an influence on the sense of caste and religion. Similarly, religious channels such as QTV and Peace TV are quite popular among the Muslims in this region and who are also influenced by ideas shared by young Muslims who work in West Asia about being Muslims there. In the last 3 decades, backward Muslims have begun to exhibit pan-Islamic religious symbols in public places. There are now more men and women participating in the Tablighi Jamaat, a religious movement. The ideas, norms and practices of the Tablighi Jamaat have changed the public presence of the Muslim identity. There is a growing intensification of a pan and fundamentalist religiosity among Muslims and Hindus in the region. Crises and a reassemblage. The political aspirations of the rising new middle class among the Jats had fragmented and weakened the Kisan identity and polity in the region. In the general elections 2014 and 2019, and the UP Assembly elections 2017, the Rashtriya Lok Dal lost badly and a new political leadership emerged among the Jats. This new leadership of the BJP represented the aspirations of youth who perceived Muslims as a threat. However, continued agrarian distress, rising electricity charges, diesel and fertilizer costs, and unpaid dues of sugarcane by mills have severely affected Hindu and Muslim Jat farmers. The Yogi Adityanath-led BJP government's stringent anti-cattle slaughter measures have devastated already broken farmers as stray cattle ruin crops. The COVID-19 pandemic has also hit the rural economy. Jat farmers have had a hard time getting agricultural labor and help since a large number of Muslim artisan and service castes displaced by the 2013 riot have left the villages. These everyday hardships have changed the perceptions about each other. The realization for cooperation is what compelled leaders such as Mr. Jowler, Vipin Balian, and Puran Singh to organize joint Hindu-Muslim Kisan Panchayats in 2017 and 2018. Rakesh Tikate, under the banner of the BKU, organized a massive rally just before the 2019 election and led a march to Delhi. Both Hindu and Muslim farmers were participants. In addition, the centre's 3 reform farm laws have not only created fear among the farmers of losing land but have also disenchanted them as far as the BJP is concerned. Finally, the events of the night of January 27, 2021 have hurt the dignity of Hindu and Muslim Jat farmers, and accelerated the process towards a new farmers' alliance. The ongoing farmers' movement has shown the potential to heal old wounds and unite the polarized Western UP society. A new dawn beckons amidst the many insurmountable fault lines. Satendra Kumar teaches at the G.B. Pant Social Science Institute, University of Allahabad, Prayagraj, Uttar Pradesh. The views expressed are personal.